or on the slide or hold it till the end. So now we are officially at the top of the hour. So I'd like to welcome everyone to the webinar on how to create or refresh or finesse your powerful online presence as a real estate professional. I know that for those of you that have let me know, technology is working great, which I'm thrilled about. Let's keep our fingers crossed that that continues for the whole webinar. But if it does not, you will get a replay later and you can watch it then. I am Melissa Zavala. I am a San Diego County real estate professional and a broker. And today we're going to talk about some smart strategies for creating or finessing, if you already have one, a powerful online presence. Additionally, I'm going to get down and dirty with about 10 great things that you can do to kind of audit your online presence. You can probably do a number of them while we are on the webinar today. But again, if you do have some questions as we're going through, just shoot them to me and I will attempt to address them at the time. But we're going to review the anatomy of search results and their impact on you. I'm going to go over some simple strategies for selecting the best domain name and the best website. And if you already have one, you may be able to still use some of these strategies to finesse or tighten your domain and things like that. Tactics for creating your rock solid lead attracting agent bio. I'm going to spend a lot of time talking about how your agent bio can make or break you. Tips for identifying areas where you can improve online. Best practices for regularly auditing your visibility, and we're going to consider some available tools for enhancing your online productivity. One thing I didn't mention yet, but I do generally have some questions about is, can I get the slides? The slides are already available to you right now at slideshare.net/Melissa Zavala. So slideshare.net/Melissa Zavala, and you can download those anytime, have a look at them anytime. And then of course, we'll be taking questions and answers as we go through here today. So as I mentioned, my name is Melissa Zavala. I'm a broker, author, and real estate trainer. And a lot of you probably may get my regular blog articles from melissazavala.com delivered to your inbox. I also contribute to the Real Daily, and some of the products that I've developed are available on Amazon.com. And they're just productivity tools for real estate professionals. Originally, I was a teacher before I got into the field of real estate. So really my focus, not only at my brokerage, but my message across the United States is that education, we're constantly needing to reinvent ourselves and to educate ourselves as the market changes. And I just really enjoy seeing agents latch onto something, try it, and be successful in growing their business to the next level. So, and you can email me anytime at info@melissazavala.com, or if you have my personal email is melissa@melissazavala.com. Okay. So before we jump in, I really want to have a look at some statistics about what's going on with Google, with search results. And I think we all know that the internet's the place to be, but this data will really compel you possibly to make some changes. First of all, 4 billion people search online each and every day. So 4 billion people are going on to Google or Yahoo or Bing each and every day and doing a search. 33% of searchers click on the first item of the search results page. So if you go on Google and you type in, I don't know, healthy diet, 33% of the people who go on there and type in healthy diet are only going to click on the first item on the search results and go no further. And that's really, really surprising, because some people say, well, I'm 8 on page 1. I'm 8th down. Well, you're losing out if you're not number 1. Look at how many people are clicking only on the first item. And then only 5% of the people who conduct an internet search ever look at page 2. So that being said, you really want to put your personal focus on getting on page 1 specifically. And of course, if you can rock it and get to be number 1 on page 1, then you're going to get many, many more clicks. So just knowing that and understanding that you've got to get your focus just on the page 1 search results and not on page 2 is kind of a huge way to visualize a goal if you want to really increase your online presence. And of course, there are 2 kinds of people that are going to be looking for you online. And the first one is people who already know you. So part of our presentation today and what we're going to talk about today is how to look really powerful and trustworthy to people you've already met. That may know you very well, or they may have just met you once. And then, of course, the other group of people that's going to be searching for you online, for which you're going to have a powerful online presence, is people who need to know you in order to get their home sold or to purchase another home. So there's kind of 2 audiences for your online presence, and you need to hit both of those audiences. So your online presence must target both types of prospects, and there are specific ways to do each of those, and that's what we're going to talk about in the remainder of the time that we have together today. So I'm going to talk about the 6 steps to refreshing what you already have online, or if you don't have much, this is where you're going to want to gear up, and I'm going to give you some easy tips and tools in order to do that. So first thing you need to do, and you can do that while we're speaking right now if you want to, is you're going to want to Google yourself. And I'm going to give you a very special way to do that. So prospective buyers and sellers who already know you will search for you by your name. So, right, these are people that have received your business card. Maybe you went to their house, maybe you knocked on their door, maybe they asked for a CMA to be delivered. Well, now they're going to be searching for you by name because they know you. Your own relatives, friends of friends, those people are going to be looking for you by your name. So when you Google yourself, there are some little tips for that. First of all, if you have a common name, you're going to need to add the word real estate or realtor afterwards. Obviously, John Smith, if John Smith is Googling himself, he's going to have a lot more competition than Melissa Zavala. So John Smith may need to put John Smith Real Estate or John Smith San Diego Real Estate or something like that. But, and then the other thing is the way to get a real and legitimate evaluation of yourself to see what you look like online is to search incognito. So, okay, you have to do that using Google Chrome. So if you don't have the Google Chrome browser installed on your computer, that's the first thing you need to do. And then this is what you need to do next. So searching incognito is very, very important because Google already knows who your friends are, what you like, what you're constantly searching for. It's got all these bots and all these things in cookies and stuff like that that know you. They know if you're going on Zappos or eBay or Amazon. And if you've ever noticed when you're on Facebook, let's say you were on Nordstrom.com looking at handbags, and then all of a sudden you're on Facebook and in your news feed, there's like some handbags that look pretty similar to the ones you were looking at before. Well, that's because the internet was using, or different sites were using pixels and bots and algorithms. And so they're getting information about you to resell you or remarket to you. So the thing here is, in order to know what a person that's never searched for you before, that's never looked you up before, that's not your friend, that isn't interacting with you all the time, actually is going to see when he or she searches for you, you need to do an incognito search. So the first step, of course, is to install Google Chrome. And if it's installed, I'm just using screenshots here, so I'm not actually demoing it live. Once it's installed, you go over to this bar section over here in the corner. See where there's these 3 horizontal lines? And you click New Incognito Window. And once you do that, it's going to open up a screen like this. And it says, you've gone incognito. Pages you've incognito tabs won't stick around in your browser's history, your cookie store, your search history after you've closed all of your incognito tabs. Any files you download or bookmarks you create will be kept. However, you aren't visible. So what that means is, so now I'm going to search. Now this is where you're going to search for your name. So here, I did it for myself. So I typed in Melissa Zavala. So somebody that has never searched for me before, that doesn't know me, this is what it's going to look like. Now, if it's one of my friends, or if I do it in my non-incognito search, the results are going to be different. So here, my first hit is melissazavala.com, my personal website. It's not a real estate website. And then my second one is my about page. And then all of these images showed up. Looks like 2 of them aren't even me. And then down lower is the Broadpoint Properties, my company's brokerage website. So that is the 4th thing here. And it could go on and on. So what you want to do is you want to see what comes up in the incognito window when people are searching for you. And then once you have that and you've had a look at that, don't close it. But now you really need to do a careful analysis. So which sites appear first? So for me, my personal website appeared first. But if I'm a real estate agent, I'm probably going to want my real estate website to appear first. Or a lot of you may find that Zillow or Trulia, your profile pages appear first because those are highly trafficked websites. So Google is going to gauge them to be more important than your website that doesn't get as much traffic. So kind of have a look at which sites appear first and whether you feature appropriately there in the way you want to look. So, and are your photos up to date? That's a second thing that's going to be something you're going to want to look at. So let's see, if we go back here, yes, these pretty much look like me. But you know, if we decided these aren't me, there must be another Melissa Zavala someplace. But if there were some that were really old, I could go back and I could click on them. I could figure out where they were. If it's somewhere where I loaded them myself, maybe I could swap them out for different pictures, things like that. So the highest compliment I know that I can receive is when somebody comes up to me who's never met me before and says, "You look like your picture. Oh my gosh, I know you from Facebook. I know you from here." Because that means to me that I'm recognizable. And while we're not always comfortable, you know, with pictures on our business cards and all of that, when your picture shows up and you look like your picture, it creates an instant kind of social connection between you and a prospective client. And that's what you want to happen. Of course, you want them, because if they have that, they'll feel that they trust you more, and it'll be easier to cement or move forward with that sort of business relationship. So are your photos up to date? And I'm going to give you some tips about taking some good photos in a little while. Do you have enough reviews? So as you click through all the sites in the incognito window, do you have reviews? So Zillow and Trulia have review sections. Did you get past clients to put reviews in there? Even if you have a business page on Facebook, that's a fairly easy place to get reviews, easier than Yelp, Zillow, and Trulia. So that's a great place to start. So if your Facebook page comes up there, that's a great place to start with getting reviews. There was a question. Yes, there will be a replay. You'll get your replay as a link in your email later on today if you've signed up. And then are your social links current? So a lot of the sites that when you're on page 1 of Google, a lot of the places you're going to click, when you get there, it's going to have a link to Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, whatever profiles you've put on there, your YouTube page, whatever you have, and you want to make sure they're current. And then, of course, you want to follow every link and make sure you look good, make sure that, you know, you haven't changed, it's not a dead link, things like that. So that's something else that you're going to want to look at. So you really need to evaluate everything. And at the very minimum, remember, evaluate everything on page 1. Of course, start with the first link, because 33% of the people, as we already said, who search on Google are only clicking the first link. And make sure that whatever shows up first when you're searching incognito is picture perfect and super duper. And then go through all the rest of the ones on page 1. Page 2, of course, we already learned that only 5% of the people actually go to page 2. So if you can get through page 1, then you've already done an excellent job with really finessing your online presence, amping it up, making sure it's up to date, and that, you know, you're putting your best foot forward on the internet. Okay, so, and then the next thing we're going to talk about is your agent bio. And let me set this up for you now, in case some of you want to pull this. I've got the opportunity here for you to download, and hopefully it'll work. You'll have to let me know. You can download, if you can see the PDF button where it says download now on your screen, you can actually, let me know if it's not working, or you'll have to email me later and I'll email it to you, but I think it should work. You should be able to download some sample templates for agent bios. And I'm going to talk with you in a second about what makes a good agent bio, and if you don't want to write your own, how you can get one written and things like that. But so let me know if that's working or not. All right, so the best thing to do with your agent bio is to make sure you have 2 of them ready. You can keep them in a document on your desktop, somewhere on your computer, on your phone, but you need 2. You need a short one and a long one. And you want to make your bio fun and engaging. And I'm getting great messages. It sounds like everyone's getting the link okay, so that's excellent. Thank you. So I'm going to give you some examples of what I mean by fun and engaging in a minute. And of course, unless you're a politician or a religious figure, you do want to be very careful about talking about politics and religion in your bio, and of course anywhere in your social media, because you want to make a meaningful social connection and you don't want to alienate anyone. And in general, you want to be careful about even the hobbies you select or the things that you mention in your bio, because some people may be put off by something. I worked for a number of years before I was in real estate. I worked for a company called Houghton Mifflin that they do educational textbook development and publishing and things like that. And I was in the educational textbook department. And there were specific guidelines for things that we could not put in photographs in elementary school textbooks. For example, at one point very early in my career there, we worked on some math textbooks. And their plan was to sell these math textbooks to California. And there's a lot of money to be made in textbooks. And so there was very specific guidelines that we could not put pieces of candy, photographs of pieces of candy in the textbooks. And that was because, and it was pretty typical in other states to do that, because you would suggest that the kids, when they're learning to add 2 + 2, that they count out 4 M&Ms, for example. But they didn't want to do that, because if we put candy in the textbooks, California might not adopt them or make a major purchase, which would be millions of dollars, because California is perceived as a place that frowns upon eating candy. So you can see how one little thing may put somebody off. It sounds funny, and it was kind of a long story, but I think it's a great example of how something small can put people off. Another example that I always give is I'm very careful with, I love doing yoga. That's my thing. That's how I get my mental break from the stress of real estate. And I do this hot yoga. It's this Bikram yoga. But a gentleman that works in my office told me several years ago, whenever I hear that you do yoga, I think that you must be a vegan and you must be very, very liberal. And he went off and on about all of these stereotypes associated with what he thought people who practiced yoga did. So you can see how somebody's mind could go a certain direction, and since you have no control, they're just looking at your online presence. You want to avoid that. You want to gain the client's trust with fun and engaging stuff, and I'm going to give you a couple of examples in a bit. So here's so short bios need to be 25 to 100 words, and you're going to use them in places like Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, and Facebook. And if you've ever noticed, I think the Twitter one can only be like 140 characters. So you may even, you're going to have to be very, very mindful of what you're putting there. And you're going to want to include a social component. That could be hobbies, favorite foods, sports, family. And for the most part, it's great to use first person. The examples I give, I don't know if they do use first person, but it's not uncommon now to use first person, meaning I do this, or me, in your bio. So here's a couple that I pulled. Lonnie Rosales is the Chief Operating Officer at American Genius and The Real Daily. And so it just says Lonnie is the Chief Operating Officer at The Real Daily and sister news outlet, The American Genius, and has been named in the Inman 100 Most Influential, co-authored a real estate book, founded Bash and Austin Digital Jobs, and is a seasoned business writer and editorialist with roots in real estate dating back over a decade. So real short, not super fun, but real short and very specific. And then this Jonathan Wilson, he talks a little bit about how he was raised in a real estate family, so that's the personal part, and he talks about what his background is in paragraph 1. Paragraph 2, which is very short, says a Pasadena resident since 2007. Jonathan is an enthusiastic member of the community, enjoys golf, tennis, showing clients the best that Pasadena has to offer. So go Pasadena. He kind of shows his pride. He talks about golf and tennis and being involved in the community. And of course, being in a real estate family, that's kind of a good thing if you have something like that to share. So then this is one of my short bios that I've used before. And it just says Melissa Zavala is an author, motivational speaker, real estate broker, and technology maven. When she isn't writing her real estate column or working with agents, she loves Scrabble, hot yoga, downhill skiing, and peanut butter cookies. So I tried to really think about strategically. These are things that I like, but also being strategic about what I like. You can learn more about Melissa and her products at, and then a website. But I've seen other agents say that they like to go to Padres games or Dodger games or Yankee games, and that shows their ties to the community, to sports, coaching their kids' little league. It shows that they're involved in the family, things like that. So you want to kind of connect, or spending time with grandchildren, or spending time with the kids, or vacationing to exotic places, whatever you like, but just pick and choose a little bit of each. So I've even seen people put in addition to things that they like, things that they hate. So one of the things that I don't like is avocado. And so that's kind of makes it memorable, so that if someone sees you after they've read that, they might want to talk to you about it, and it creates some sort of engagement. So foods that you hate is easier, of course, than things, specific like teams that you hate. You don't want to get involved in that. But the foods that you hate. And with regard to Copy by Marta, Marta Cliff is somebody that I've known for a long time. M-A-R-T-E, Cliff is her last name. And her website's Copy by Marta. And if you don't like the template that I'm going to go over in just a second, and you want to update your agent bio, or you want her to help you with a short and long bio, she does charge a flat rate to write agent bios. And she's a copywriter for real estate professionals. She's a retired real estate professional herself. So she's a great resource if you don't want to write, if you don't have time to write, if you don't have energy, if you don't want to focus on content development. All you have to do is do it once and have it ready, and then you can throw it and splash at all of these places across the internet. So Copy by Marta, you may want to reach out to her if you're not going to be working on this yourself. Of course, you can, if you go back and look at the slides, you can grab one of these people's short bios and then pepper in your own stuff, and yours will sound just fine as well. So now let's talk a little bit about the longer bios. So the ones that I sent you to download, the templates, are some longer bios. And so the longer bios are about 200 to 300 words. You see them commonly on LinkedIn, people's websites, and in their marketing materials. Just be careful, no selling, and be truthful. The internet, especially for savvy internet users, the internet is a place where every piece of data can be checked. So sometimes I'll have someone call me, maybe an agent on another side of a transaction through our office, and he or she will be talking up a storm about how awesome they are, how much business they've done. And then all I need to do is look up the data, and I can see their closings to confirm that. So you need to definitely be truthful and accurate, and not overly embellish, because the internet it's easy to verify everything. And don't oversell, but really attempt to create trust. So those little things like saying what you like, showing that you're involved with your family or with a charity, or have done some certain things that are maybe in your career, in your life, that might send a message about the kind of person you are. Those are the interesting things that you're going to want to put into your longer bio. And include lifestyle photos. So lifestyle photos are not the photos that we all got in school with the solid background. Lifestyle photos have a background which might have a tree, or it might be a little bit, there might be a filter, so it's focused on you, and the background has some maybe brickwork or some part of a house or something, but you're clearly out in the world doing something. So those are the photos that are much more commonly used throughout throughout the internet now. And if you have photos from a place that did, you know, the blue screen in the background or the gray in the background, you may want to swap them out for some lifestyle photos. And of course, I do recommend being fairly consistent across the internet with all of your photos. So have 2 or 3 and use the same ones over and over. And that really does help people to perpetuate your brand. And that will help with creating a more powerful online presence. And so there were 6 bios in the template that you might have downloaded. And those 6 bios, there's 3 for new agents and 3 for experienced agents. And obviously you're going to have to put in your own information there. And for the most part, the top paragraphs of each are slightly different. So for the new agent, there's some stuff about what you may have studied when you studied in real estate, whether it's property management, real estate practice, real estate principles, whatever you want to put in there. But it gives you a format for a long bio, especially if you're maybe a younger person that hasn't even a lot of work experience yet, and you're not sure what to say. You can talk about where you went to school, where you grew up, what classes you took. And of course, most people come to real estate with even a modicum of customer service experience, even if you were working in a different field, which you can bring to that bio as well. So once you've got your bios done, you're going to be inserting them all over the internet, or going back to that incognito search and going through and just double checking that your bio is up to date. And that's like Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, which, by the way, Realtor.com has something called social bios, which is really, really nice. And you'll want to make sure yours is up to date, because if you add, for most of the MLSs across the United States, if you're having an open house over the weekend and you add it to your MLS portal, it will connect with your Realtor.com social bios page, and people will come to your open house. They will find those open houses on the internet if they're searching on Realtor.com. Twitter, and you'll put your short bio on Twitter, your Facebook page, LinkedIn, and your company website. And I did get a question about websites. We are going to be talking about websites in just a little bit. So your Facebook page, there's business pages and there's personal pages. The community guidelines for Facebook do tell you you're not supposed to sell or do business on your personal page. A lot of real estate professionals do. You know, will they crack down on that? I don't know. I don't have that tie, but I just want to make you aware that there may be some benefit to creating a Facebook business page if you don't already have one. LinkedIn, company website, and the Facebook page is where you can get those reviews that are easy to get. So insert your new bio everywhere, and then go back to those photos. So you're going to go back to your Google images. So if you've searched on Google for yourself using the incognito window, you can click on images at the top, or just look at those images like I had that stripe of pictures of me, and look at those for your name and make sure that they do you justice, that it's not showing you in a bikini in 1976. And, you know, and swap the one. If you have control over what's there, if you click on an image and it was on your Instagram from before you were in real estate and it's not appropriate, well, get it off of there, because whatever you see, other people can see too. So spend some time just doing an audit of your Google image bank. Check your Instagram and Facebook photos and delete when applicable. So I have a new agent, a younger woman that's joining our office, and we've already kind of talked about it, and she is going to go back and look through you know, her social media profiles and just make sure that everything looks just buttoned up and nice and neat for moving forward. And it's so nice because she's planning ahead, and it's really, really great. And then, of course, as I mentioned before, use consistent lifestyle images across all sites, no yearbook style photos. So try to get rid of all your yearbook style photos. If you've got those, now may be a great time to replace those because they're probably a little bit older. Another idea is a lot of the photographers that do the property, the property photography will take your pictures for you at no extra charge if you hire them to do one of your listings. So maybe you can, make a deal with one of your photographers that you use fairly regularly for your listing photographs. So that's just a thought on that. And then the last thing you're going to want to do is the first part of your overhaul is to set up Google Alerts. So to do that, you go to google.com/alerts. And what Google Alerts are is what will happen is if you set up an alert for a certain phrase or keyword, then when that keyword comes up on a new website, which is, searched by Google, which is all of them in the whole wide world practically, then you will get an alert via email. So set up an alert for your name and whatever other terms that you deem appropriate. So a lot of you know that I have, for a long period of time, I have a distressed property short sale negotiation business as a side business. And so I have words like Fannie Mae, short sale, foreclosure set up on alerts because I want to know if there's any new news about what's going on in the distressed property market. And of course, set up an alert for your name. So that way, if someone's blasting you, you can get ahead of it because you'll get that alert right away. So you receive an email with something new with your name appears on the internet. So that's at google.com/alert. So that's a way to always be auditing your online presence. So let me take a break and answer some of these questions. Can I listen to this webinar from my Android mobile device? Ben, I don't know if you can, but you will get the replay and maybe you can probably listen to it then from the replay on your phone. And the next question is, with all the social networks, is it necessary to have a website? Well, that's a great question, and we're going to be talking about that next. So selecting the right websites and domain names. Okay, so do you need to have a website? And so there's two types of buyers and seller prospects: people who already know you, as we said, and people who need to know you. We've already determined that people who already know you are going to search for you by your name. So for people who don't know you, if that is a focal point of your business, of course, if you're doing like a Brian Buffini type of thing and you're really working by referral, that may not be a focal point of your business, people who need to know you. But if people who need to know you and haven't met you yet is in fact a part of your business, then you will need to have some sort of other online presence to attract those people. So do you need a website? Yes, no, maybe. It depends on your focus. So here's the issue with websites. They need to be updated regularly with new content. Okay, so are you willing to do that, or do you want to be out in the field selling? That's what you need to decide. They often contain community blog articles and articles about home buying and home selling. And they capture leads through IDX, online chat, and things like that. So if you're going to have a website, do you want it to have IDX, or do you want it to just be a landing page with information about you? I mean, there are so many considerations, but I think the huge one is if you plan to capture leads from your website, it's either going to take a lot of money or a lot of work on your part, and that's where you need to determine if that's the best use of your time. And if you have the money, or if you can find a preferred partner to support you and you can team up, there may be some benefit to doing some of the pay-per-click ones, which I'll talk about in a little while. So then the landing page, what the landing page is, and it seems it's a very big trend right now versus having a website, is having a landing page. So a landing page is something that offers an item of value, and it's for a very specific audience. So you could have a landing page which is just for home sellers in a specific community. So Encinitas Ranch, that happens to be where I live. So I could say it could be EncinitasRanchHomeValues.com. So I would be targeting a very specific audience, people that live in Encinitas Ranch, and the item of value that I'd be offering is a CMA, home valuation. I'm focusing on one need. I'm capturing the buyers and sellers because they put in their address and I know that they're considering possibly selling, or at least they want to know the value of their home. And that would be the value I would be offering, would be an automated CMA, and then probably followed up by a door knock with a more robust CMA after I get a look inside and can really evaluate what their home's worth. So those are very, very popular and fairly easy to set up either on your own, or there are companies that offer those as well. And I'll mention those companies in just a few minutes. And of course, the website is much bigger. It does a lot more. If you have IDX on your website, you've got people searching. A lot of times you have community articles, videos, about pages. Websites are just, they target buyers and sellers, and they do a whole lot of things. And landing pages are very specific and focus on one need. So do you need both? Do you need one? Do you want either of them? If you have a good social media presence, you may decide that you don't want either. There are some very affordable alternatives if you want to have something. And again, I'll go over those in a little bit. So here's the thing though. These are the domains you need. And so you can go on GoDaddy.com while we're doing the webinar or when we hang up, and you need your own name. And you need your name on a .com with no hyphens if you can get it on a .com. Definitely need that. As long as you're there on GoDaddy or whatever site you're buying domains on, you might as well buy your kids now, because you know there's going to be more kids later wanting the same thing. So unless your son or daughter has a very, very common name, grab it now as a .com and just save it for them for later. You know, they're gonna be very happy that you did that. And they're about $8 or $9 each, of course, per year. And the more years you buy, the cheaper it is. By the way, if you can buy for yourself 10 years with your name, what happens is the longer you own a domain, the more favorably Google looks at it when they're looking at search engine optimization and they're trying to figure out if you should be on page 1 or not. So if you own your domain longer, they see you as someone that, oh, she's more credible. This is not a 12-month domain thing, so maybe I'll put her on page 1. So there's all sorts of stuff that goes into it, but one thing is the length of the domain ownership or registration. So for your own name and for your kids' names, which are not going to change, you might as well buy 5 or 10 years. There's no reason not to. And then you could, once you buy the domain, you don't have to put a website on that domain. You can forward it someplace else. So if you work for Keller Williams or Remax or Broadpoint Properties or wherever you work, a small independent or a large company, you can take that domain. I'm sure they give you a page, and they give you a page or some sort of something on their website. You could take your domain with your name. Like I could take melissazavala.com. I could log into GoDaddy where I purchased it, or Bluehost or HostGator or wherever you purchase it. And I could actually tell the GoDaddy or the hosting company to forward that domain to another domain, which could be my office website, my page on the office website. So it could be broadpointproperties.com/Melissa Zavala. So anytime someone typed in melissazavala.com, they would end up on this other brokerage page. So you could look like you have a website by having your personal domain and forwarding it someplace else. So that's, you know, $8, $10 a year. And instead of someone having to type in brokerage name / our agents / your name, they would just be typing in your name and they would go directly to that page. Does that make sense? Anyway, it's something that you definitely want to do. And then the next thing is for your not yet mets, for the people that don't know you, remember, they're not going to search for you by name. They don't know you. They don't know you exist. They're going to search for things like San Diego real estate agent, Boston home for sale, or Boston agent, or best Boston listing agent, or best Newport agent. And when they land on a page, then they're going to start to meet the person later. All they care about, people that don't know you yet, all they care about is getting something that they need, which is either they want to look at houses, or they want a home valuation, or they want the best agent in the area. So they're not going to be looking for you by your domain name, by your personal name. they're going to be looking for you in a more generic, which is for your community. So if you're going to do a website, you're going to want to not build it on your name. You're going to want to build it on something that's searchable, like San Diego real estate or Boston homes for sale or Newport luxury homes or Ocean View Encinitas homes. Whatever that you decide to do, those words are going to be key. If the domain matches the search keywords, then the probability that you're going to get landings on it are much, much higher. And of course, then you can take your melissazavala.com, your personal name, and you can forward it to the other generic domain. If you want to go that route, this is the way that you do it in order to maximize or create a more powerful online presence. So, and the next thing is you need to be sure to have a way to analyze your traffic and capture leads. Otherwise, what's the point? It would be like having a brochure in the sky and you need people to go there, or what's the point of having it? So the best way to analyze traffic is through Google Analytics. So any site that you have or that you get set up for you, you're going to want to make sure that they set up Google Analytics. So what Google Analytics will show you, this is just a screenshot of some Google Analytics, how many people went on, how many new users, what the bounce rate is. So that means how long they stay on the site. Do they bounce away? How many pages do they look at every time they go on the site, and the average time they're on the site. So lower bounce rate is better. This is a very high bounce rate, but this is just a sample. So you're definitely going to want to hook up your Google Analytics or get that hooked up for you so that you can really track all of the details in order to be sure that you are getting traffic. Because if you're going to work for 5 hours a week on your website, you better be getting some traffic, because if you're not getting any traffic, if you spend 5 hours door knocking, you'd probably make some addition, you'd probably cement some new relationships. So determine how you want to handle that. And then the question is, and this is where I'm going to talk about some specific products, is should I do it myself or should I farm it out? Well, that depends on you. Do you love content creation? Are you going to be working on this for the long haul, or do you want to farm it out? Okay, so WordPress is a blog site. It does really, really well in search engine optimization. It is definitely the way to go, but you've got to feed it with blog articles and things like that. So and that's something you'd probably be doing yourself, although Virtual Results, which is the second one on the list, is a company that creates websites on WordPress, and you do not have to update them. They'll even put in some blog posts for you, but they're going to be the same blog posts that everybody else has that signs up for the freebie blog posts. And they, I believe, are owned by Zillow. So the IDX is Diverse Solutions, is the IDX portal if you're going to do that. But it is built on a WordPress blog. Squarespace is very affordable if you just want a landing page or just want to have your name on a website. You can probably throw something together on Squarespace without a home search. And they're very, very easy on the eyes, very current, very pretty. People really like the way they look and will hang out there more. Playster is what I think, they're a company that has emerged over the last year or two, and they're just fantastic. And they've got a hookup with the National Association of Realtors where you can get a wonderful website, very, very nice looking, very affordable. So for those of you that are wondering, should I have a website or should I not? This is so affordable, you almost want to say, like, why shouldn't I do it? And then you can forward your domain name, your personal name, to your Playster page, and they'll build it on, like, I don't know, Houston Homes for Sale or whatever website they want, the domain that you want it built on. Then Diverse Solutions and IDX Broker offer some products. And then, of course, the expensive way to go, but you're going to capture the most leads, is through a pay-per-click website. So you would not own this website. It could be like through Commissions Inc., Zerple, Tiger Leads, or Conversion. Those are 4 competing products in that space. They create a dynamic website for you, and then you tell them your advertising budget per month for pay-per-click advertising. So what they'll do is they'll have ads in the sidebar and in the top of Google or Facebook or wherever you specify. And when people click on them and they sign up, then the leads will be in the CRM, which is at the back end, and you can they have drip campaigns, and people are searching on your site, so you can see what they're looking at, and there's automated property alerts. So it's very, very robust CRM in the back end. They are pricey, but they capture, because people are clicking, and then they have to log in to look at the houses and things like that. So that's should you do it yourself? Should you farm it out? That depends on you. And then the cost can be anywhere from $9 a month up to thousands of dollars, depending on how much you want to feed in pay-per-click advertising. Okay, so some tools to help you succeed that I've mentioned already are Google Analytics. Now, leadpages.net, if you want, and Unbounce are both where you can make your own landing pages. Now, bold leads and home value leads are companies which they will make they've got templated landing pages for real estate agents. So when I was talking about those single pages for like seller pages or buyer pages, which will capture, that would be through bold leads and home value leads. And then SumoMe is a new product that I've looked at that's really, really cool. So basically what that is you can build that on top of a WordPress site. It's just a sign up page. So you've got your website, and people show up there and it says, hey, sign up. And so you can capture using SumoMe, and I think that their product for capturing is called Welcome Mat. So if you've ever been on Forbes.com or I think Entrepreneur.com, when you go to look at an article, they always like divert you to this other page because they want you to sign up. So that would be the kind of thing it could be. And then, are you going to force them to sign up, or is it just going to hang out there for 5 seconds? And then if they don't sign up, they get to see the page. So that's the kind of stuff that you can do once you've got your website set up in order to capture those leads. Because if you're creating that or super powerful online presence, you're going to want to capture leads from it and make money from it, of course. So creating and updating social profiles. So I'm going to spend we've got about 14 minutes left in our hour, and I'm going to spend the rest of the time talking a bit about social media and updating social profiles and just making sure that everything is current and looking super. Obviously, you're going to want to be on multiple channels, which is extremely time consuming for a lot of us. Did I go here? Did I post here? Did I post there? Am I on Snapchat, which is the new thing? Am I on Instagram? You've got to decide am I on Pinterest, and how am I going to regularly post to all of these? So some of the, these are the places that most real estate agents are right now. And are you there? Facebook, Pinterest, YouTube, Yelp and Google Plus for the reviews, Zillow and Trulia, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, and more. I'm just mentioning some. Are you there? Well, first of all, if you've written your 2 bios, it's not difficult, and you've got your picture, it's not difficult to make sure that you at least have something there. And then you can interconnect a lot of these through syndication. So if you post on Facebook, it can go to Twitter or vice versa, and you've got Instagram connects to Facebook also. So you can do all of these things where if you post one place, it goes another place. So there's definitely ways to interconnect stuff. And you want to select your channels. And these are some of the considerations for those places that I've listed is, do they feature my demographics? So for example, if you are doing probates, empty nesters, you may not want to be on Snapchat because the demographic for Snapchat is not there. You would probably want to focus, if you're going to do online stuff, you're going to want to be doing drip campaigns, email marketing, and Facebook, because Facebook, of all of the ones I listed on the previous page, and maybe a little bit of Pinterest and LinkedIn, but predominantly Facebook, you've got a lot of baby boomers going on Facebook. And then you want to really look at and evaluate the posting time. So there are some graphics on my website which you can get later on, which talk about the best times to post on each of these different websites. And there's a lot of studies by Quick Sprout on how the best time for posting on Facebook is not necessarily the best time for posting on Twitter. So you've got to spend some time looking at that and then create an advertising or marketing schedule to get stuff up there. But then you're thinking, oh my gosh, the best time to post on Twitter might be 2 p.m., but that's when I'm with my client. How am I going to post there? Well, the good news is there's ways to schedule stuff. So we're going to be talking about that. But before we do, let me just go over this. So people spend 4 times more time on Tumblr and Pinterest than they do on Twitter, and 77% of businesses use YouTube for marketing purposes, and 60% of internet marketers utilize video to reach their audience. So you definitely want to do some stuff with video if you're not there yet. And then this is the crazy thing. Americans users spend an average of 97.8 minutes on Pinterest. Pinterest is the third most popular social network in the United States. And there has been a 145% increase in daily Pinterest users since 2012. So you definitely want to consider Pinterest if you haven't already. I think later this year I am scheduling a whole webinar just on optimizing your Pinterest. But if you know anything about Pinterest, or if you've thought about it at all, just think about what you're searching on it, or what the people that you know search. They're looking at houses, they're looking at layouts, they're looking at clothes. Without being disparaging, I would say that the optimal user is probably like ladies who lunch, people that have the money to be buying a home. So, you know, they're working on fixing up their home, crafting, things like that. So those are the kind of people that would be a perfect target market for purchase and sale. So you definitely want to have a good presence on Pinterest. So you want to nurture your online presence with boosted posts and shared content. And shared content increases your page likes, your traffic, your social interaction, and your exposure. Boosted posts are awesome. So if you've got a open house coming up and you want to increase your online presence, then you can boost it to friends of friends. And you can also boost it to certain neighborhoods. So you would put your open house on Facebook, maybe if you're doing it on Saturday, maybe on Wednesday. And then you would allocate maybe $20 to a certain zip code, people between ages 25 and 65 in a certain zip code where you're having the open house, that you want to invite them to come. And you will be shocked at how much exposure that boosted post will get. I've seen people get 500 clicks and 6,000 views and stuff like that. So if that's a great, easy, affordable way to immediately boost your online. If you boost your post, you will boost your online presence. And then when you share other articles and other things of interest that you don't create, that also helps you, gives you credibility, enhances your trust, and will increase your online presence as well. So you need to really take control of your online presence, and you want to put a lot of systems on autopilot. And this is kind of what I was talking about a few minutes ago with regard to social media scheduling. So automated activities. Which activities can you put on autopilot? Of course, you can put some of your posting on social media on autopilot, and some things will require human intervention. If you're actually going to be a person that regularly updates your website, writes community articles, puts up videos, that's human intervention. But minimal human intervention, meaning what can you farm out to other people? So you've got all of these inbound marketing campaigns going to the internet. You've got people who are searching for you by your name, and people who are searching for you as the #1 Escondido real estate agent, for example. So you've got all these different pathways, and you've got to use as much automated activity in order to deliver content. So in the example I gave at the landing page, that's a great example, because when people go to those landing pages and they want a home value, that's all delivered immediately, and you just get an email later, or you can look in the portal and see it was delivered. So that they're getting that immediate gratification that internet users expect, and you're getting a lead at the same time. So you're going to want to be looking for stuff that delivers immediately and uses automation. And that would be like bold leads, home value leads, things like that. Same with Commissions Inc., Zirple, all of those, they do immediate delivery, all automated, so you don't have to be involved in that. So the social media posting, though, you're going to have to do some of the, unless you hire it out. There are some companies, there's like Meet Edgar, Curator, there are several companies out there that will do your social media posting for you. But if you want to do your own, you can schedule them using Hootsuite or Buffer. So you go into Hootsuite, you create your free profile. If you have more than like, I think it's 3 or 5 social media sites you want to use, then you have to pay $10 a month. But you can put up your posts and you can say, put this one on Twitter at 3 o'clock on Saturday. So you could do your whole month, or you could do a week ahead of time, which is what I really recommend if you're going to do that yourself. So I know you'll get back to the social media sites, but if you skip a day, it's not a big deal, because you've got some generic posting going on, and you've scheduled that in advance. Maybe for your new listings, inviting people to those open houses, just interesting information. For example, I had seen that people that live near a Trader Joe's, I saw some statistic, Trader Joe's market, or The home values are higher, so I think that's kind of funny. So I shared that article once, different things that the consumer would like. Or you can always hire a virtual assistant. They're in the United States, you can hire them, using like Elance or Odesk. From outside the country, you can pay them in PayPal. You can have them do your social media scheduling for you, and you don't have to worry about it. Or some people have them manage their leads. A lot of these people from other countries speak perfect English, and they'll do it for less than what it would cost to get that done in the United States. So here are some simple tips to remember as we wrap up. You need to Google yourself from time to time. You need to be consistent and professional in your online activities, so get rid of your bikini photos unless you're a bodybuilder and that's your thing. And you need to stick with it. It doesn't happen overnight. It's something that it grows over time. And as far as website and domain tips, you may not need an IDX site, so that addresses the question we had earlier about, do I really need a website? But you definitely need to own your name, and then where you push it, you can decide that later. Make sure that your online presence is professional and aesthetically pleasing in 2016, that it doesn't look like the 1970s yearbook. So that may mean going to Playster or doing a new Squarespace thing, or hiring out your website. And then, of course, hiring someone to assist you if necessary. And as far as social media, you'll want to use social media management platforms or hire that out. And you want to boost or share to increase exposure to make your online presence more powerful. And so you can rev up your online presence by having short and long bios ready to go. Then you don't have to go back and do things like if you move to a new brokerage and the broker says to you on the first day, we want to put your bio on our website. And then, she could have it up there tomorrow, but you have to give it to her. So if you have it ready to go, it's very, very easy. Using lifestyle photos makes you feel, cements trust, makes you feel more easier to engage with. Provide value by not overselling. So remember, my best example is that people don't really, I guess it's nice that you went to Harvard or MIT and you speak 3 languages, but they'd rather hear things that will make that social connection. And so you want to spend more time providing value and not overselling. Set in place tools to continue to deliver value with market reports and listing alerts, because those will be automated. And then convey trust, fun, and enthusiasm in everything you do. So be really careful if you've had a bad day and you want to write something negative on Facebook, that people are going to see that. So sometimes you write it and don't post it and then just delete it. Or you could keep your little journal on the side or something like that, because sometimes you just, the act of like writing it down gets it out of your system, but you definitely don't want people to think that you have that edge. And of course, real estate does have so many ups and downs. We all feel that way sometimes. Or if you join one of those groups like Lab Coat Agents or Raise the Bar in Real Estate, there's a lot of groups on Facebook where you can kind of share your perils and pitfalls, and that might help you feel better. But maybe don't post them on your profile page or your business page where prospective buyers and sellers will find you. So the key to slowly increasing your online presence is to really plan ahead. And so if you've gotten nothing else out of today, I hope that you got out of it that you should be using the incognito window to periodically Google yourself, searching incognito. You should have your bios ready to go. I've given you some sample bios, some really good examples of bios that can help you. And you should go back and kind of review and audit using Google Alerts and your incognito search how you can kind of clean things up for yourself. So it's really all about having some good systems. So today was like an audit day. And so the question is, hopefully you do have good systems. If not, what will you do when you leave our webinar in just a minute or so in order to amp up those systems? So I am winding down. So for those of you with questions, if you want to continue to type them in, I'll address them in just a second. But you need to not stop running the race. We all get really frustrated. Real estate has as I said, has so many ups and downs, but you need to just plug away, set a little bit of time each day to work on your business as opposed to in your business, and you will definitely see the success. So as we wrap up today, feel free to ask me any questions. I'll go over the questions in just a second. For those of you that have to go, thank you. Remember, you can get the slides at slideshare.net/Melissa Zavala, and you will receive the replay, I think in 2 or 3 hours via email, and it will be just a click to link to watch it on YouTube. And I do thank you for sticking with me. For those of you in the Pipeline Planner launch team, thanks for coming by. We've got some treats coming up for you in the next week or so, which will be very exciting. And for those of you that are on, I hope you did grab your agent bio template from the PDF. And so thanks again. And let me just go through the questions for those of you that are still on the line. Let's see what we've got here. Okay, so here's Mary's asking about CRMs. So I didn't talk a lot about CRMs today, but what I will say is that those more expensive systems that I mentioned that have the pay-per-click advertising built in, so that was like the Commissions Inc., the Zerple, the Tiger Leads, and Conversion. They have this very wonderful CRMs in the back end where you can add your own leads. And of course, all the leads that come from their site will go in there. And they also have a feature now, which is, I believe, also available in Top Producer and also in Pipeline ROI and Follow Up Boss, where what they'll do is, so let's just say you have a Zillow Premier page, and so you can have all your Zillow leads by just making one little change in Zillow go directly into the back end of that CRM. And what I've noticed over the years is initially, of course, we weren't getting very many internet leads because it was many, many years ago and the internet wasn't what it is now. But as you start to get them from so many different places, they're coming into your inbox and they're hard to manage. But if they're going directly into the CRM, then they're much easier to dispense with. So if you're a team leader, you can actually assign those to different agents, or they can be automatically assigned or filtered to agents, or you can just spend an hour every morning going through your CRM and making sure emails or even some of these have text messages. You can text message from the CRM out to the different folks. Another CRM that I like is Contactually. That one's very, very good for working with people that you already know. It pulls data from all sorts of places like your social media sites and your contacts, and it then it gives you like grades like A, B, C, D, F on it suggests people that you should contact every day and then gives you grades on how well you're doing on that. So if you need motivation to contact people that you already know, that's a good one. And Referral Maker, which is Brian Buffini's, one of the women in our office uses that and she likes it very much, and she's been very, very successful with that. Thank you, David, for all of your comments there. I'm reading them as we go. And then, yes, okay, so the other question was about the landing pages. So the landing pages, you can make your own, but depending on your budget and depending on what you want to do, you may want to look at a product like Home Value Leads or Bold Leads, and there's other ones as well. Those are just the ones that come to mind right now because the website's already done and the whole thing already is cemented in. So if they type in, if they're like Dallas Homes for Sale and they put in their address in Dallas, you'll automatically get the lead. They'll automatically get the home valuation. So those are kind of good. But another way that you can use a landing page like the ones on leadpages.net or Unbounced is just to create your own single page website. And you can also use Squarespace for that. So if you don't have a website at all and you buy a domain and your company doesn't have a page for you, I would recommend that you look at something like Playster or Squarespace to get something affordable on the internet, just something that is just very current looking. It will make you look large. The internet's wonderful because it's like a great equalizer, and it makes small companies and big companies, they can be equal, or small companies can be bigger because they have a better or more powerful online presence. So you want to take advantage of that to look more powerful and more trustworthy with your clients. So there's a couple of messages for me personally on here. David, Sue, if you would just email me, I can ask those better one-on-one, and I'm at info@melissazavala.com, info@melissazavala.com. And for those of you that are still here, thank you again for joining me, and you will get the replay. I am going to tune out now because I'm 4 minutes over, and I believe in always not taking too much of your time. And of course, but if you need more support, feel free to reach out to me separately. Thanks again for coming. Again, email me with those private questions at info@melissazavala.com. And for those of you that just listened to this on replay, thank you for making it to the end, and I wish you much success in your real estate career. Bye-bye.